some things about toxic relationships in both intimate and platonic relationships, talk about what's healthy versus toxic, share some experiences, some tips on how to prevent from entertaining those kind of relationship, all of that good stuff. Okay, y'all? Okay. Let me see. Y'all tell me in the chat. Tell me in the chat if you ever been a part of a toxic relationship. Let me know. Let me know if you've ever been a part of a toxic relationship, whether you were the person who was toxic in it or if the other person was toxic. Have you ever been in some type of toxic relationship? Hey, Tilo and Good Food, so said, let me know in the chat. I know Good Food says she's driving. Not if you're driving. If you have the ability to just type in the chat. Hold on, let me see it here. Kayla said, I hate toxic people. Usually I just tell the teacher if I'm in school and someone is toxic to me. Okay, if you're in school, okay. To some degree. To some degree. I bet most people have been in some type of toxic relationship because toxic can go on any level. It doesn't have to be extreme. It can be on a very minimal level, but just not what you're desiring to have, which means, and probably means, that it's toxic to you. And what's toxic to you does not mean it has to be toxic to everybody or others. It can be toxic to you, right? Yes. Okay. Okay. So Saret said somewhat. Tilo said, hey, Saret. So yes, we're gonna get on this topic about toxic relationships. Hopefully people will come in as we get into the topic and join in, okay? So first I want to talk about healthy versus toxic. Healthy relationships versus toxic relationship. What does a healthy relationship even look like? Like when you think about what does a healthy relationship even look like? A healthy relationship is going to look more like mutual respect, a relationship you have trust in, a relationship you support in, and a relationship that you have open communication. And again, that's an intimate and platonic. That's across the board. When you feel like you're in a healthy relationship, you're going to feel like you're being respected, trusted, trusting, supportive, supported, and open line of communication, right? Honesty. Tito said, and she believes that honesty is in a healthy relationship. Yes. I can give an example if you want. Go ahead, Kayla. Go ahead. Positive interactions. Okay, Sarah says she believes in healthy relationships, you're going to have some positive interactions. You're going to support. Let me see. Thanks so much for supporting. Wait a minute. That's so. I didn't ask Nightbot to do anything. Where Nightbot? Where did you come from? I haven't used you in I don't know how long. That is too funny. But thank you, Nightbot. Thanks so much for everybody supporting the Shadow as Gamma's World. You are appreciated. Hey, Corey. Corey said hey to everyone. Saret said open communication. Absolutely. So in those healthy relationships, again, you're going to have mutual respect, trust, support, and open communication on both ends. Okay? All right. So now when you think about a toxic relationship, you're going to have a different list of things that might occur in a toxic relationship. Things like manipulation. People, hey, vibe. People feeling like they can manipulate you or you trying to manipulate somebody else. In those toxic relationship, manipulation definitely plays a part. As we said, you find respect in healthy relationships, and toxic relationships, you're going to find disrespect. Okay? Let me see. Sarah said, I think I did that by saying support. Okay, yep. Yes, let me see. Hey, bye. Hey, Abrielle. We're talking about this healthy versus toxic relationships over here. I need a quick reminder of what toxic means. Toxic means that you're in a relationship, or toxic in relationships. And what we're talking about tonight is meaning when you're in relationships that are not respectful, they're manipulative. We're saying what toxic is right now. We're on what does a toxic relationship look like. We're talking about that right now, Kayla. We said it looks like manipulation is playing a part, disrespect is playing a part, constant negativity. Okay, constant negativity and emotional strain. Like when you feel emotionally strained, like you're feeling like you're drained, or you might be feeling like you're straining. That's going to give you a sense of toxic. Something is happening toxic, okay? When you have that feeling of those things, that's letting you know that things are becoming toxic. Squeaky said, hey, good mom, I was in chat. Hope all are having a wonderful and blessed day. Thank you, Squeaky. Toxic person said, hey, let me push you into the forest. Okay. Okay, so well, let's talk about some signs. Let me see if y'all can tell me. I'm going to give y'all some, of course. But tell me in your experiences, what were some signs of toxicity that you experience in any kind of relationship? It could be an intimate relationship or a platonic relationship. What are some things that you had signs? What were some signs to you that this might not be a good relationship to entertain? What were some things that let you know that? Was it something that was said, something that was done? Was it an action? What was something that was not said to let you know? What are some things that will let you know? Vibe said hi to, I'm sorry, Tito said hi to Vibe and Brielle. Insecurity. Okay, some signs that Corey said that he was able to pick up on was insecurities. Insecurities in a relationship or, platonic or intimate. The insecurities in the relationship was a sign of toxicity. Let me see, Squeaky said hi to Saret. Okay, so anybody else want to drop anything in the chat of signs? Saret said disrespect and crossing boundaries. Signs that she feel is a sign of things being toxic is if there's disrespect, people crossing boundaries, and then Corey said insecurity, okay? Okay. Anybody else? Y'all drop it in as I'm talking. If y'all want, we'll definitely go back and take a look at it. So I'm going to talk about some signs of toxicity, okay? Okay, let me see. Kia said, well, one time my crush pushed me. Nobody should be pushing you. Okay, so signs of toxicity. Squeaky said, lack of communication to me is a killer. Yes, lack of communication. Sometimes people think it's all of what's being said that can be toxic, but a lot of times the things that are not being said can be as toxic. And that's for sure. Across the board, that is so true. That is so true. It's not always out loud and, being heard. It's definitely the things that are not said are things that can be toxic. So emotional manipulation. Let's talk about emotional manipulation as being one of the signs of being toxic. Okay, emotional manipulation can mean gaslighting, like making someone doubt their perception of reality. Like if you're always trying to make somebody doubt themselves, you're trying to manipulate them, and that's your emotional manipulation. You're trying to play on somebody's emotion by doubting things about them, like I want to get another job. I feel like I want to be in a better position. I want to do this, and then the person is on the side saying, "Just you don't even worry about that. Like where you are now, that's good enough. That's not supporting you or making you feel like you can move to the next step of whatever it is. But that could be across the board, making someone doubt themselves, how they look physically, how they their personality might be. Just taking any shot and trying to make them doubt their perception of what their reality might be, or guilt tripping, trying to manipulate the other person's emotions to get their way. So they want to guilt you into that, make you feel like you're doing something wrong so that they can manipulate you to do the things they want you to do. That type of thing. Let me see. Like communication. Kayla said, let me think of one time someone was toxic to me. It might take a while. So I don't think I'm okay, Kayla. Abriel said, hit the like button, y'all. Okay, so another sign could be lack of communication. Like we just talked about that. Squeaky just said that. Lack of communication. It's a term called stonewalling. Does anybody know what stonewalling means? Anybody in the chat know what stonewalling means? Tell me what y'all think about that. I'm totally in that third marriage. I was the queen of stonewalling. Queen of stonewalling. Remember, I always tell y'all that's not a good thing. But a lot of the way I felt about the relationship created a complete stonewall. Okay. Nobody knows what stonewalling is. Stonewalling is withholding communication and refusing to discuss important issues. You know, like when you're avoiding tough but necessary conversations or ignoring like what's needed to be said or done in a relationship to move forward. Like I got that bad. I had that bad. I'm not gonna say I have it as bad now because I try to put it in perspective. I just don't. I'm not that spoiled to think I just get my way. You don't give me my way. I'm stonewalling. I don't do that no more. But I was very much guilty of it in my third relationship, where when you shut down, basically shutting down. When you shut down and you just withhold any kind of communication and you just refuse to discuss whatever it is. Because I feel like in the beginning I want to discuss it. But if I'm being ignored in any kind of way, I'll shut that thing right down real fast. And that's the term for that is called stonewalling. Okay, so that's another sign of toxicity in relationships, platonic and intimate. Okay, thank y'all for those sign hearts. Okay, so the next sign of being toxic is controlling behavior. If somebody has a behavior where they're trying to control you, or you have a behavior where you're trying to control somebody else. Okay, so in controlling behavior, it's like you're monitoring them, or like, monitoring how much they're on the phone, or monitoring how long they're gone, or monitoring how much you want them to spend time with their friends, or monitoring their whereabouts, monitoring their social media. Anything like that, having controlling behavior, monitoring or restricting their freedom. Like if you're in a relationship and it's like, okay, one person says they want to go out and get some me time or whatever, but the other person, they don't want no me time. They're looking like, no, I planned for us to do this, and that, and they continuously do that without allowing you the time you feel you might need. So that could be them restricting freedom. Okay, or making decisions for the other person, that's another example. What I just said, like you might have plans to do something and let you know that, oh no, I already made plans for that. So they like making decisions for the other person without their input. Like you're thinking that you're going to be the one to make the decisions for the both of you all the time, and you're not even bothering to ask the other person. Let me see. Candace says, someone named Theo roasts me nonstop and says mean things to me. Like no one, let me see. Like for no one, my face is Effly. Okay. Yes. Okay. So you're giving me that as an example of a toxic. That's definitely toxic. Anybody calling you names at all, that's off the top. You don't have to figure that one out. That's immediate toxicity. Okay. So, I was saying that monitoring, restricting freedom, or making decisions for the other person without input. This could be both intimate relationships and friendships. This could happen. Another sign could be like isolation and controlling behavior. Then people want to isolate you, attempting to isolate someone like from their friends or family. Like sometimes if you get in a relationship and they never want you to be around your family. They never want you to be around your family. So that's a sign of controlling behavior. Okay? That's definitely a sign of controlling behavior. Let's see. Another sign of controlling behavior is if they don't want you in like supportive networks. Like if you find a group of people who's helping you and, motivating you, they refrain from wanting you to be in those type of groups. Like they don't want another person to like maybe influence you. No outside influences. They want to keep you from any outside influences is another way of controlling your behavior. All that monitoring, restricting freedom, making decisions for you, isolating. Another controlling behavior is disrespect or lack of boundaries. Disrespect or lack of boundaries is definitely a sign of being toxic. Crossing boundaries is always, across the board, going to be a sign of being toxic. Crossing those boundaries without giving consent, like crossing those boundaries like physically, it can be emotionally or mentally. Just not considering your feelings, not asking you if this is okay, if this is not okay, just flat out just doing things willy-nilly the way they think it should be done. Hey, Chacal, we talking about toxic relationship over here, girl. And the next sign of toxicity up under controlling behavior is consistently dismissing the other person's opinions and needs or feelings. And like if you like, that's what I was saying, like in my last relationship, like if you're consistently dismissing what I say I feel that I need, Or if I give my opinion or say what my feelings are about it, you like kind of blowing it off like it's not important to you. To me, that is very toxic. And that's what I would, even though stonewalling, like we talked about, is not a good thing to do. Ignore people, do have avoidance away from them, avoiding conversation. That might not be a good thing, but that was what my coping with that was, is to just shut down. Like, you try to act like you don't hear what I'm saying. How about I say nothing? And two wrongs didn't make a right. Two wrongs did not make a right. But those are two different things, being both toxic. So then I would have to say I was toxic in a relationship because I was definitely stonewalling. And I can say that person was toxic because you were still dismissing the things I say. Even if you didn't agree with them, just dismissing, like, okay, let me let her talk. Let me let her talk. Like, just dismissing what I'm saying like it's not important. Squeaky said, yes, yes. That one dismissing, yes, absolutely. She said, oop, I hit that one on the nail. Okay, okay. Okay, another sign of being toxic is jealousy and possessiveness. Jealousy and possessiveness. In intimate relationships, unhealthy jealousy or possessiveness can signal toxicity. Of course, that's like a red flag right away sometimes, especially when you get a certain age. What you jealous of? Jealous of what? Why are you making that person, like, some people sit back and say, I want to make somebody feel jealous. Why you want to make the person feel jealous? Why you want to make them feel that way? And even for the person who's jealous, why are you jealous? It's a bigger problem that needs to be discussed. You just can't have feelings of jealousy for no reason. Something is not being discussed and communicated and, talked out and coming to a conclusion or a resolution about that thing, right? Now, this can also creep into friendships as well as intimate relationships. Y'all got to make sure that when I'm saying relationships, I'm talking about across the board. Across the board, I don't care if it's a work relationship, a friendship, or an intimate relationship where one person feels overly possessive of the other's time and attention. That's a problem. That's a problem when someone feels like that about somebody else. That's a reflection most of the time of the way they feel about themselves or the unhealthy way they feel about other people's. And that can definitely come from past traumas, and it could not. Some people didn't even have a past trauma. That could be something that they just got together in their mind as a way that they want to be, and not knowing how to express their feelings in some kind of way. You have a lot of people that think if he's not jealous, if she's not jealous, that they don't even love me. They think that they need to feel that the person is jealous about their whereabouts and what they're doing in order to feel like the person loves them. Let me see. Squeaky said, I'm stubborn. That's toxic. Yes, so sad. Oh my God, but I do communicate. Yes, if you're stubborn, that's the way. I'm not as stubborn. I'm not gonna say I'm still not stubborn, but I was like extremely stubborn. And that's definitely as toxic. Like, you can tell me nothing. Like, I already figured it out for the both of us. And if you don't believe in that, then you just try to go against me. You don't want the right thing, and that's not always the fact. But hey, Blessing said, hey ladies, driving home from work and listen. Okay, Blessing. Squeaky said, hello, Blessing, hot topic. Abrielle said, I don't like people like that. Right. You start doing that jealous stuff, that's just going to throw me off. Okay, another sign of toxicity. Let me see. That's why I like that's why I like how I am with my friends. I don't get mad with them for having other friends. I'm not a territorial person. Yes. I'm not a territorial person. Like, that's Ambrielle speaking, like in friendships or like in people in relationships. Like, they don't want you going nowhere. They don't want you being around this person. Or jobs can do that too. You can literally be in a job that's going to say, that has a policy of like overtime is mandatory. Or like you have to constantly be on call. Like, your life is just kind of like on hold for this job. And to me, depending on people's different lifestyles, for some other people, that could be perfect. But for some people, that could be toxic for me to just stop my life and wait for you to need me. Even a job that could be toxic. Let me see. Abrielle said, I hate the blessings. Tito said, it's toxic to, oh, wait. Embryo or Surrect, can y'all add Tanya? I forgot she told me to add her when I came live. Can y'all do that for me? Okay, Tito says it's toxic to act like you support a person just as long as that person doesn't do better than you. Absolutely. It's a person show. Hold on, y'all. Let me get the phone. it's a if a person, I think you're trying to say, if a person shows any signs of doing better, getting a good man or a job or looks, that's true. Tilo, now that's a good one that you making examples out of when you're in a friendship. Well, I don't know. That could be like, well, some of it in a regular relationship, but like usually that's like a friendship or maybe like coworker, something like that. If they want to work with you, they're happy with you working with them until you get a position, or like they're happy with you as long as your house is over there and my house is over here and yours is over there. But then once you get able to be in the same area or maybe a better area, then it's a problem. All of that, yes. Or if you have a man, period. Like people say, it's folks out here that get mad if you get a man. Like I don't get that. I see somebody with somebody. When I'm telling y'all, be y'all hype, y'all biggest cheerleader. I be y'all biggest cheerleader. You start talking about you don't want to be with the person. I'm like, wait, did you consider this? Like, hold on. Does it have to be like this? Like, is there anything you could talk about? I don't get how people get so upset when people have relationships. And men do that too. If they see men with a good woman, they will like try to throw that off or try to get the man to do some things they wouldn't normally do because they feel like they haven't found that person and they're not willing to accept that that person is happy with that woman. They'll try to throw slugs in it. That's so true, T-Lo. Let me see. Yes, that's true, Abrielle. Okay, Abrielle said, you do that for real, guy. Yes, Abrielle, I'll be playing that. You start talking about you got any problems in a relationship, that's a no for me. It's going to be no. Now, if you're talking about something where somebody's doing some real toxic stuff, you know that's really bad. Then that's one thing I'm going to tell you, yeah, run away if I see that. But if it's anything, you start talking about some little stuff to me, I've been through enough relationships to say, hold on. I jumped the gun on a lot of stuff. Let me slow you down. Let me slow you down because it ain't got to be like that always. Let me help you out with this. I'm serious about that. I don't play no games about a relationship, though. Relationships is one thing that I'm going to try to keep people together. In this single world, it's a struggle. And I ain't trying to get nobody to get in it with me. Nobody. Let me see. Hey, Hassan. Thanks for coming in. I'm doing good. Salute to the chat. Thanks so much. Abrielle said, I'm not telling you if me and Cliff ever break up. Girl, don't tell me. Don't tell me because I'll be right there like, wait, what was the problem? Like, was it more than one problem? Is that something you can ignore? I don't play that. You ain't counseling us for free. I sure will. I sure will. Okay, so we talked about jealousy and possessiveness, like when people are trying to be possessive in those intimate relationships or friendships. Because that can also, creep into friendships as well as relationships, okay? You don't want a person feeling overly possessive, of you and your time and your attention. It's one thing for people to desire your attention. You want people to desire your attention, but you don't want them to be possessive over your attention, okay? And you don't want to be possessing nobody else's attention either. These are things we got to make sure we're not being in a relationship too. Not just looking out for somebody else doing that to us. We have to be just as fair and not try to be that person in somebody else's, or be that person in somebody else's life. Let me see, girl, you better get back with him, right? Exactly. That's what I'm be saying. Let me see. Abrielle says, I can hear him now. Telling her I still don't feed him, right? Exactly. And I'll be like, I need for you to feed him fast. That ain't nothing. That's small. That's little. Absolutely. Okay, so another sign is constant drama or unnecessary conflict. When somebody is, especially somebody you live with, ain't no way in this world I'm getting ready to be, before I get too much, if too much drama come inside of my household, I'm going to get out. I spent so much time outside of my household in that last relationship. I'm like, you not get ready to have me in the midst of this. Before I stay in the midst of this, I'm getting ready to go find something to do. I'm going to wait till you go to sleep. I'll be back when you go to sleep. This just ain't, I'm not getting ready to go with that back and forth. I don't like that back and forth. I think that anything can be talked out. And when you get beyond the point where you got to be having that unnecessary drama, it's a no for me. Unnecessary conflict for no reason. I don't see no sense in that. And you ain't trying to come to no resolve. You just want to be causing some conflict. I'm not the one. Thank you, Abrielle, for that floating heart. I just feel like your home should be your peace. Your job should be your peace. Like anything you're doing that you got to spend significant amount of time in, it should be your peace. You don't want to gather up with a bunch of friends if it's not peaceful in that. You want it to be peace. Let me see. Yes, because I feel like home is where your peace. It is. It's your serenity. It's your where serenity should be. Hassan said, "It's Gamma's World." Did you see the story I sent you on your post? Oh no, Hassan, I don't know if I saw it because I don't know if I can receive links in my comments. I saw a comment that I responded to you, but I didn't see a link. Yes, okay, so constant drama, unnecessary conflict. Creating unnecessary drama or conflict could be a sign of power struggles or emotional, trying to challenge you emotionally. Okay, so that could be a thing of power. Like if you're constantly creating drama, you got to have a motive. I think that's kind of like tied into a motive. Like who wants to be in drama? It's either a motive or that's your part of your personality. And if you're a person that don't necessarily take to a lot of drama, it's not going to work. Now that's not to say it's not people out here that like drama. I know people who say when they first get in a relationship, they want to know that the person will fight for the relationship. So they'll do things to try to get that person to overcompensate and showing that they want them. But then later in the relationship, they don't want the drama no more. They don't want that drama no more. So it's like, to me, if you want to get into a relationship like that, and if that person has characteristics of conflict that way, and you're turned on by that in the beginning, and then later on, okay, you don't want it no more because now you're on a more serious note. You feel like they proved themselves, but they continue to be that toxic person. Then you got a problem. But you knew you came into the relationship with that, desiring that for somebody to prove, because it's a problem if they have to do that to prove that to you. Why do somebody have to prove to you through constant drama or conflict that they care about you? Why you shouldn't want it, and the person who's giving it to you has an issue, but it may, like I said, it may be an issue. They may just simply have to get with the person that feels the same way they feel about drama, because it works for some couples. Some couples stay in drama. They don't mind being in drama. They live in their own world with their drama. And I'm saying, I guess if you get with a person who's drama filled and you like it, and y'all can make that work, then it might be a good thing for you. Okay, that could be a good thing for the both of y'all. Another thing is always feeling drained after interactions, even if it's like with someone you care about. Like once you finish, if you have a discussion or whatever, you just feel drained. You just feel tired. Like, Lord, oh, you sick of arguing. You sick of fussing. You sick of fighting. All of that. If you just feel drained after interactions, that's a sign that it's toxic. You shouldn't be feeling drained. Or another sign is a lack of support or encouragement. It's a lack of support or encouragement, like not supporting the other person's goals or actively trying to like undermine them, things like that. That's a sign of toxicity. If somebody is there with you for them, if they're close to you in any kind of way and they're not supporting you or like encouraging you, if you live with a female that you have goals and aspirations and they're never pouring into that, it's like they want to undermine you in some kind of way, that means that there is toxic behavior going on in there. Okay, it's toxic. Decide if you want to be a part of somebody who does not support you in your goals, aspirations, or anything you might want to do. And doing things like, instead of lifting you up, it's a sense of like competition or like criticism or like being negative, things like that. If that is constantly in there, that is draining. You have to decide, do I want this to be a constant thing? And do I want to go to work when I know people are constantly competing with me and always criticize the things I do and making my day more negative than positive? You got to rethink that job. But most of all, like when we're thinking about these healthy and unhealthy toxic behaviors in relationships, we got to think about, how can we address it? How can we address the toxicity in relationships? Is there anybody who want to tell me in these relationships, y'all want to drop down and tell me how you handle or how you address things when you see that things are toxic in your relationship? Let me see. Asad said, all right, just send it to you and I followed you. Hopefully you got it. Okay. You got to accept my friendship request. Okay, what is that? Facebook? Or you can email it to it's Gamma's World. What is it? It's Gamma's World at gmail.com. You can email it there too. How are some ways that we can, oh, IG, oh Lord. Okay, I gotta see how to get up in there. Okay. I gotta download it. I'll download it to get in there because I took it off because of my storage. Okay, how do you address toxicity in relationships? You can encourage setting clear boundaries, maintaining open communication, and standing up for your personal needs. Flat out, if it happens, it doesn't mean you have to immediately run, but it does mean that you can probably try to get a handle on it by setting those boundaries, letting them know, because maybe it's just a matter of communication. Okay, try to email it. Thank you. Um, it could be a means of like just communication. Like maybe they're having these toxic behaviors, but if you just open up the lines of communication and like set some boundaries and have a conversation, kind of like just stand up for what you need, it could be a simple misunderstanding. It could be a different way of looking at it that that person may have not looked at it that way. Or even if they're trying to give you boundaries and set some clear, open up the lines of communication with you. Like if you listen, this may be something that you don't mind helping to meet the needs of a person. You may, it just a line of communication. Let me see. Seresta, communication definitely will be the first step. Yeah, because that's the only way you can let somebody know what you need is through communication. So you have to be willing to set those boundaries and maintain an open line of communication. And if you're on the other end, standing up for your personal needs. And if you're on the other end, be willing to give that person what they need. Okay? Chakala speaking, everybody. Okay, another way to address the toxicity is to discuss how sometimes relationships needs a break. Like you could have that discussion like you just need a break or a space to heal. Okay? And that'll be okay. Like make that okay. Some people like, I don't know, like on a job, I don't know how you'd be doing space and all that with a job. But if you're in a relationship or a friendship, just maybe a break or a space to heal could be okay. That could be another way to communicate if you need that in a relationship. That's when you open up those communications and setting those boundaries. You can make that clear at that time. You can't say I'm back. I had a phone call. Okay. Okay, you said the thank you sign. Okay, and another way you can address it is letting the person know or them letting you know, however, it might go, the importance of self-awareness and being willing to reflect on somebody's behavior and role in a relationship. Like you definitely have to have a self-awareness and you have to be willing to reflect. Because if you don't want to reflect on that, like every time somebody says something to you, it's an issue or you want to like combat it and you want to be going back and forth instead of being open to the fact that you are self-aware and you're willing to reflect on yourself or reflect on others, it's going to be an issue because you have to be open. You got to be open with that. You have to be. And when to walk away? When do you even walk away from a toxic relationship? We have to learn to walk away, recognizing when a relationship is beyond repair and if it's healthier to walk away. So like not saying, oh, I noticed toxicity up in here, I'm out of here. It don't necessarily even have to be all that all the time. Like most times it's more than one thing that's making you feel like this may be better for me to walk away. And it might be like a couple of things like, like, I see this, but you know what? I'm going to have a conversation, see if we clear this up because this ain't going to go good if we keep going this way. So you just find out if you feel like it's healthier to work through it by those open lines of communication and setting boundaries and everything? Or is it healthier so that I don't lose my mind in this, I don't lose me in this, I don't start disrespecting nobody and doing stuff like that, or what do you say, I don't start closing down lines of communication, it may be healthier to walk away. Let me see, Brielle said, you're right, Seren, but everybody can't communicate well. I've learned that with my family. For absolutely. Communication is definitely a skill. It's a skill and it's not even anything you can go somewhere and like learn, like literally over time, the more you do it, because some people didn't grow up in situations where they were able to communicate themselves about things. Some people, like if you start off in a household that says, be quiet because I said so. And if it's just like that's a rule of thumb, and that's the reason why I believe in homeschooling, because when they say sit at them desks, don't say nothing, raise your hand. Like all of that stifles your ability to be able to use your words to communicate. So if you come from either of those, your communication has already been stifled. So you have to wait until you're old and you graduated and old enough to get out of your parents' house to be able to learn to begin to communicate things. That's why it's a lot of times when people see people who parent and they allow their children to ask questions and go, like kind of have dialogue back and forth, they're like, that's a disrespectful child. But is it a disrespectful child, or is it a child that has questions and they just simply want to answer because this may be the beginning of them being able to communicate? They don't have to wait until 18 to do this. They can literally start doing this at 3 or 4. Then they don't have to practice from 18 to 30 and then start at 30 and then go through all these different relationships because they didn't know how to communicate. Let me see. Brielle said, I tried to talk to a friend one time and she thought I was ending the friendship. I'm like, girl, I'm just expressing myself. Yes. Some people think that if you're saying something that is a reflection of me, or if you're like trying to bring to my attention something about me, they feel like it's a dagger, it's a shot at you, when you could only just be expressing how you feel so that you can move through it and get better, right? Let me see. Soraya said, true. And Brielle, she listened. Let me see, wait. And Brielle, she listened to hear right what she wanted, right? That's exactly what, Chakal, that's exactly what that is. Like, listening, as soon as you start saying some words that I feel targeted, that's it. Let's just shut it down. That's where they don't want to hear about it. You got to be a strong listener when you're communicating to see, what the person is actually trying to say. And Brielle said she jumped the gun, and I was like, oh, well, she ain't got to talk no more. I was like, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I said, in their way of understanding or no way. Right. And Brielle said, Tracal, it hurt my feelings, but I'm not begging for a friendship from anyone. Okay. Good fool said, I'm here. Yes. So you learn if it's healthier to walk away, or if it's worth opening up those lines of communication so that you can move to the next step and possibly work through some things. Because like, just because something is toxic now does not mean it has to stay that way. And what was that thing? What was I saying that fast, y'all? Okay, when to walk away, knowing the importance of self-care. Like knowing that you're going to have to think about yourself. You got to be selfless a little bit. When you're in toxic relationships, sometimes you have to be selfish. I'm sorry, not selfless, selfish. But then sometimes you got to be selfless. It can be a balance of the both. But you definitely have to be selfish when it comes to toxicity, because you can't put somebody before the feelings you have about being in a toxic relationship. So therapy might do it. Finding healthier coping mechanisms, all that, just so that you can get through it. So if you feel like I don't necessarily want to walk away, those are some things you're gonna have to like keep in mind. Like, would therapy get you through it? If I have a bigger regimen of self-care, would that help it? If that person had a bigger regimen of self-care, you know what I'm saying? If I find different coping mechanisms, would that help? Those decisions can help you decide if it's healthier to walk away or not. Let me see. Brielle said, okay, I got that. Hassan said, facts. Chakal said, Brielle, it make you wonder, was that your real friend? Yeah, to let it end on something so simple and misunderstanding. Yes. Corey said, heal first. Absolutely. You definitely have to be healed. You cannot go into relationships not thinking it's going to be toxic if you did not heal yourself. You're going to project all those things onto the next person and in the next relationship and the next relationship, whatever. Because if you keep getting into relationships, they become toxic due to things you didn't heal from, then it's going to be like it's just going to be like a snowball effect. And Brielle said, right, Tracal. So let me ask y'all a couple of questions. In the chat, tell me what you feel is a red flag that you ignored in a past relationship. Think of a past relationship you had, and can you tell me what a red flag, we might have a lot of them, I don't know, what a red flag was that you ignored in a past relationship? What was it, something you ignored? What was there, but you didn't want to acknowledge it until it was like either on the bricks of breaking up, or now you broke up, now you want to think back and say all the things. That's what we normally do. Wait until it's over and then say all the things, but it's actually something we ignored. and it was a red flag, but we ignored it. Let me see. The mama not liking me was a red flag. Good Food said his mom, her husband's mom, was a red flag for her. That when the mom didn't like her, what do you think? So Good Food, what are you saying? Your mom didn't, his mom didn't like you. So you felt like that was a red flag for your kid's dad? You feel like that was the mom not like you was a red flag? How do you think that was, what do you think you should have gotten from that? When you first met her, what do you think you should have gotten from her not liking you in relation to your relationship? Let me see. Anybody else want to give me a red flag? Let me see. Stories not adding up. So like if somebody is saying something, giving you a story, and you kind of like going with it, it don't sound right, but you ignore it, and then later on, you want to say all the pieces came together. But you know that it was a red flag, and you continued on. Good Food said yes. That lets you know it's more issues than her, just not liking me. Okay. Okay. So, when did you realize that you were in a toxic relationship? Like when? Like, do people normally get this like in a very like honeymoon stage or in the very beginning of a job? Like, when do you usually realize that whatever relationship you're in is toxic? Do you think a little bit of time goes by, they kind of suckered you into it, and it's been 2-3 years later, and now you find out? You've been on this job for 10 years, and now you're seeing I spent 10 years here, and the same thing is going on and on. They've been doing this to you since the first time you started. First week, 2 weeks you started. Let me see. Suresh said, yep. Good Food said he has mommy issues, and sometimes that causes a divide on my house at times. Okay, because those can be red flags. A lot of people truly believe when they're in an intimate relationship that the interactions that their partner has with their mom and the or dad, their parents, and how the parents interact with their son or daughter is a direct reflection of how things may work out in their relationship, and it are not always, because people can have some things go on with their parents that they prevent. I said that earlier, that it could be some things that you prevent from doing because you saw it. It don't always have to be you getting the negative end of it. You could really get something positive and say, that's the thing I don't want to do, and work really hard not to be in that space. Let me see. Trakel said, yes, stories not adding up. I let people talk and I pay attention. I don't say nothing because you'll tell that story again. And if it's not the same, I'm turned off. I know that's right, Trakel. Yes. Yes, okay. So, have y'all ever been a toxic one? Tell the truth. Have y'all ever been the toxic one? And what made you realize you were being the toxic one? Because we can't always be blaming nobody else. Whenever you find a blame in somebody else, most of the time it's a blame where you can place yourself. You place yourself in somewhere up in there to blame. So tell me, have you ever been the toxic one? And what made you realize, okay, you know what? I'm being a toxic one in this. Let me see. Good Food say, yes, I'm most definitely the one. Because, baby, I will cuss you smooth out so you feel like you're the toxic one. When did you realize you were the toxic one? Good Food. When did you realize that it was you? And that part, that part of it. What made you realize that you were the one? Let me see. Smith said, I believe you, Good Food. Right. Y'all know Good Food tell the truth on that. Good Food said, I've been the toxic one. I'm a tourist. So you think all tourists are, ooh? I know one tourist. I don't know. I could have known more because I never get into those signs. But this person I do remember was a tourist. And my God. Okay. Let me see. Okay. So do y'all believe that people can change? So when you get somebody that's in a relationship with you, do you think a job can listen to you and understand how you feel and make your workspace better? Do you think that you can be in a relationship with a person intimately and you can open those lines of communication, discuss how you feel? Do you think that you can ultimately make that better and change some toxic behavior? What do y'all think about that? Let me see. Let me see. Yes, we definitely speak our minds. Okay, those Tauruses. So, do y'all believe that people can change? If there's toxic behavior in someone that appears to be a part of their personality, do you think that that person can change? And what if you think they can change? What do you think it would take for them to change? Good Food said, "That's why I'm back in church to change my mind and thoughts." Good Food, good. So you can have more positive and more of a conscious. Because when you in church or doing whatever you do to expand your spirituality, it keeps you having a conscious. Most of all, in anything you do, you're going to be more conscious of where your actions and most things. Let me see. I'm getting baptized soon, and I will upload the whole process for y'all to see. You better let us see that, Good Food. Yes. So are y'all thinking that people can change, or y'all think people are pretty much set? Y'all think it's a done deal. If you're a toxic person, you stay a toxic person. Y'all think the people can change? Do you think you can change? Good Food is saying that she can change. She says she knows she toxic. She says she'll cuss somebody clean out, but she says she in church now. She trying to be more accountable for her actions. Yes, people do change. Uh with upcoming Good Food. Oh my God, that's exciting. Yes, that is. You got to believe that people can change, because if you don't believe people can change ultimately, okay, if you see a pattern in behavior and people want to be a certain way, then you have to just sometimes know the difference between a personality characteristic and being toxic. Okay? So, but as far as either one, you got to know that people sometimes they flat out, just like we want God to say that we wanted him to look at us and say, I was this person and I could change. I could change. Like, trust me, give me the will, give me the strength. I can change. We got to believe that other people can change too. Suresh said, depending on your age. Good Food said, money change. Let me see. Good Food said, I'll definitely let you know, Chakal. I would definitely love that. Yes, Chakal said she coming to that baptism. She said, okay, let me know I'm coming to that one. Good Food said, I'm trying to walk in my purpose. Yeah, Chakal said, I hope not way in Africa, Southside. Always talk about the South Side of Texas. Okay, so do you think love can exist in a toxic relationship? Do y'all think if somebody's in a toxic relationship, do you think that love can actually live in that relationship? Can people just ignore the toxicity in it and just say, okay, I just love you and I just want to be with you and stay in that place? What y'all think? Let me know if you think people can stay in that. Good Food said, no, Chakal, I go to church. In Fifth Ward, the hood, she said, oh my gosh. Chakal, you got to take a chance. You got to risk it all. And then we're going to end the live with this, y'all. We're going to end it with saying, what is your number one tip to someone trying to leave a toxic relationship? What would be your number one tip that y'all would give to somebody about leaving a toxic relationship? Can y'all put that in the chat? A tip that y'all can give somebody? Let me know. What tip can you give to someone wanting to leave a toxic relationship? Then hopefully somebody in this chat, this can be helpful to them. Somebody on a replay. If y'all on a replay, make sure y'all like the live. Make sure y'all subscribe if you're not subscribed to the channel. I'd appreciate it. Chakal said, yes, my uncle and aunt, I think, has been married since I was little. My auntie is very toxic and they are still together. You see one, you see the other. Also, that's the question about, can people live in that toxicity? You said yes, they do it. They was able to do it. Like, yes, I know that my father, like I always tell people, my mother held no words back. She said exactly what she wanted to say. Both of them really said whatever they wanted to say. They just were very expressive of whatever they were trying to say all the time. And some people just thought, like, if they go somewhere, like, they go Buddy Man and Shrew, they used to always say, there they go, because they call my dad Buddy Man. And so, they was just, they were together till death did them part. I guess it was more good than bad or whatever, but people stay together through a lot. And throughout the years, people more back in the day. They didn't care what went down. I know some people that some stuff or some family members stuff really went down. They stayed together through all that toxicity. It was just rule you stay together. Good Food said, leave my good friend, leave my good friend, leave my good friend, didn't get a chance to leave. Okay, she said her tip is leave. Her good friend didn't get a chance to leave, y'all. They didn't get a chance to leave. So she said if you're in a toxic relationship, her tip is to leave. Just leave. Good Food said your cow, Green Pine Papa is my brother. Good Food on Liberty, she asking you. And then Good Food said your cow, Liberty Road. Wow. Okay. Hi, Princess. How you doing? So thank y'all for coming into the live. I appreciate y'all. Hopefully y'all got something out of this. Toxic relationships. Hopefully it's something you can take with you. If you don't need it now, you'll be able to look back at it and take some of the information for into your next relationships, your next job, your next friendship, all of that. Thanks for everybody who dropped out in the chat to give all that good engagement and tips and experiences about toxic relationships. I appreciate y'all coming to the live, and I will definitely see y'all tomorrow. Oh, y'all already went live on Get Your Big Ass Up, so I will see y'all tomorrow. Tomorrow's game night, y'all. Again, let me let y'all know that the game night tomorrow is going to be for the children, y'all. Me and my cousin fought at Ross. Oh yeah, you talking about the funeral. Hey, my birthday is tonight. Oh, happy birthday, princess. Thanks for the info, Gamma. Yes, Shakal. So, y'all, tomorrow is for the children, y'all. Game night is for the children. So, it's going to be two different age groups. One for the younger, one for the little older children. And if y'all want the kids to come do a scavenger hunt, that's what they're doing. Bring the kids over here. The game night is for the children tomorrow, y'all. Bring those kids tomorrow. Y'all been asking for that kids game night, and I've been forgetting a million times. Y'all ain't stopped to remind me, but every once in a while, but I tried to keep it on my mind for sure this time. So y'all bring the kids so that they can participate in a little scavenger hunt tomorrow, okay? 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I see y'all later. Y'all have a good night. Princess said, play game with me. Yes, but Princess, come on tomorrow at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, and we'll have our scavenger hunt game